Welcome to the August 2012 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. My name is Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video will cover Iowa net general fund revenue for the first 2 months of cash fiscal year 2013. I will also review an 18-year history of Iowa's major sources of general fund revenue. Over the months of July and August, Iowa net general fund revenue increased $86.3 million, up a significant 9.3% compared to the same 2 months last year. Just under one-half of that $86.3 million net revenue increase is due to increased corporate tax revenue and decreased corporate tax refunds. Individual income tax revenue increased 5.3%, and sales and use tax revenue increased 3.1% over the 2 months. As of the end of August, there are no known significant calendar year issues impacting the comparisons between fiscal year 2012 and fiscal year 2013. Let's now have a look at net receipts by month over the most recent 13 months. For the following charts, the underlying numbers have not been adjusted for any calendar or processing issues. Revenue increase months are colored blue, decrease months are red. Net general fund revenue has now increased 8 of the past 9 months, with net revenue increasing 9.5% over the most recent 6 months. Individual income tax revenue is the most significant source of general fund revenue, and over the past 6 months, gross individual income tax revenue increased 5.4%. Sales and use tax revenue has shown a similar pattern to individual income tax, with 11 growth months in the past year and 5.3% growth over the last 6 months. Corporate tax growth has been significant for more than a year, with increases exceeding 30% in 8 of the past 12 months. The most recent 6 months have produced 35.3% gross revenue growth. Let's now take a more long-term look at general fund revenue. The next 4 charts present 12-month moving totals for net revenue, meaning gross receipts minus tax refunds. All charts will start with the 12 months ending June of 1994. Iowa individual income tax revenue began a period of no growth starting in the late 1990s when tax rates were lowered 10% and a U.S. recession followed in the early 2000s. The level of individual income tax revenue remained relatively unchanged for 5 years, with increases beginning in earnest around June of 2004. Revenue growth from that point continued until late 2008, when the effects of the U.S. recession caught up with Iowa. The revenue drop from there was significant, with revenue growth not returning until the summer of 2010. Sales and use tax shows a pattern very similar to personal income tax and sales and use tax growth, with sales and use tax revenue net of refunds first exceeding its previous peak in April 2012. The third most significant tax revenue source is corporate income tax, and corporate income tax is very volatile. Not only has the level of net corporate tax revenue increased significantly in the past year, but its importance as a general fund revenue source has also increased, with net corporate income tax accounting for more than 6% of overall net general fund revenue. Corporate tax has not provided this large a percentage of overall general fund revenue since the mid-1990s. Looking at overall net general fund revenue, and this chart does not include transfer revenue, we see that revenue growth has been positive for about 2 years, and the slope of the line, although choppy at times, is consistently positive. In summary, the first 2 months of cash fiscal year 2013 have provided very good early growth at 9.3% year over year. The 2 main drivers of general fund revenue, individual income tax and sales and use tax, are up about 5.3% over the past 6 months, indicating an Iowa economy that continues to grow. The revenue growth from those 2 sources has been supplemented over the period by significant growth in corporate tax revenue. A look at the last 18 years of net general fund revenue indicates that the U.S. recession that began in December of 2007, with the subsequent downturn in Iowa revenue 10 months later, is clearly behind us, and general fund revenue has now been growing at a normal pace for about 2 years. I thank you for your interest in Iowa General Fund revenue. Goodbye, and please check out the next monthly video memo in early October.